Welcome back to King Street Kids Q&A. And we were thinking about this morning's King Street Kids Q&A, and we sort of, it's been a bit of a crazy week. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes, in our world, in our country, in our city.
In our city. And we were thinking about what's been happening this week with different protests and different riots that have gone on and different things that have caused a lot of destruction. This is something that we've been wrestling with, and adults have been wrestling with throughout the church too.
What does this mean? I think that's a good question. What does all this mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think it just means, right, we as a country and as a city have a lot of work to do on bridging gaps between communities that feel that they're singled out or victims of injustice throughout the world, and specifically our country.
Mm-hmm. I think back to what Daniel, you said in the Children of God moment on Sunday, and what we talked about on Sunday too. It's still ringing true. There's a lot of people coming from a lot of different places that are feeling hurt for many different reasons, and it takes time to wrap our heads around why people feel hurt for different reasons. And you name some of those things: injustices and not being heard, inequality. That there's a lot of people feeling a lot of hurt right now. And I think for me, my prayer is still, come Holy Spirit, because there's some ways that I'm still feeling like I'm drawing a blank and I don't know. And I'm still praying that prayer and waiting too.
So on Monday, I drove down King Street, and I started at Upper King, and by the time I got to the church and had seen all of the broken windows and boarded up windows and all the destruction, I was so angry. And you know, people would say, Pastor Eric, what do you say about this? And my answer should be, we should talk with each other. But when I see that, I get so angry. I don't want to talk. I don't want to listen. But we can't do that. We've got to reject those feelings of anger and continue to go back and listen. Because of the color of my skin, I will never understand the feelings of anger and disappointment and fear that some people feel in our country. But I can try to understand and listen. I think we have to do that, or we will never move to a better place. We'll never move to a better place. Come Holy Spirit. That's the best thing I can think of right now. Come Holy Spirit.
And I think for our King Street kids, and for our adults too, that just a reminder that whatever we're feeling, whatever questions we have, talk about it. Kids can talk about it with your parents or with friends or with us too. We're here to hear that. And the same goes for even our adults too. We're here to talk about it. And I think we need to keep talking about it, and keep asking those questions together, that we don't have to be alone in our feelings, whatever we're going through. We don't have to be alone in our questions, but encourage you to know that the door is open. And even though they're separate, even though we're physically separate right now, there's ways to get in touch and talk about it too. So I guess we still have some questions for today as well.
Let's shift gears. What do you have, Pastor?
We have these two things called creeds. We have one that's called the Apostles' Creed and one that's called the Nicene Creed. And we say them in worship. And the question was, what's the difference between the two, and why do we use one or the other?
So first, a creed is a statement that says, I believe. And when you say aloud, or even to yourself, I believe, those are powerful words. For the times of or how we choose them, for the most part, determines the time of the year. We've been using the Nicene Creed, but I believe as we move to the season of the church, we're getting ready to move back to the Apostles' Creed, which is, it's a little shorter. What is the difference, Pastor, between the two?
In terms of a little bit of background, the Apostles' Creed came first. It is the one that can trace its roots back to an earlier time in the church, an older time in the church. And then the Nicene Creed came later, and it's specifically out of a year, 325. And it's a little bit longer because I believe the people who were writing it had a bit more room to sort of spread out, elaborate, add a little bit more to it. So that's why it's a little bit more longer than the Apostles' Creed. So Apostles' Creed is older, Nicene Creed is still old, but it's more recent than the Apostles' Creed.
Now I guess comes the point in this, the random kind of
All right, what you got?
out in the field questions. So the people want to know.
The people want to know. Okay.
People
All right.
need to know.
What do they want to know?
They said if you had to pick someone to play you, an actor, to do the story of your life, who would you pick? And I'm just going to go in and I'll go in. I think for me, I want Zach Galifianakis to play me in the story of my life.
That's a good one.
Right? I think he's hilarious. Pretty quick-witted. I would like to think that I'm quick-witted at times. And have you seen Between Two Ferns? I mean, man.
Absolutely hilarious.
I wish I could lead an interview like that.
I love it.
I mean, that is gold.
You know what? I would love, this is an open invitation. If Zach Galifianakis would want to join us here one week, he's definitely welcome. We'd love to have him.
I've been thinking about you, Eric, and primarily because I was watching the Colbert Report last night. Man, Stephen Colbert playing you, that could be pretty good. Funny, politically informed. I mean, come on.
Maybe people should cast the movie, and they can give us their suggestions here.
Hit us in the comment section. Let us know what you think.
Or we could just play ourselves. Who else is better to play us than us?
Ryan can play me, my twin.
If people have more questions, let us know. Email Daniel.
I gotta run because I think the trash man's here, and I need to wheel my bin to the street.
Do that. But later's Daniel, and we'll be back for another round of King Street Kids Q&A next week. So take care.
Bye.